the apartment was $550, and I decided that, I need to get some other people to sign for this lease. I wasn't old enough to sign for it, so I got my two buddies to sign for the lease. I had them each paying $225, so it was $450. So I was left to pay $100, and I told them I would just fend for my own parking. They got the dedicated parking spots, so I was living pretty cheap. And then the next idea was, well, geez, if I could do that when I turned 18 and 19, we started looking at duplexes, and I was looking at duplexes and thinking, well, geez, I can live in one half, rent out the other, and get a roommate and live for free. That was the idea. So I never did buy that duplex, and I'm glad I didn't, because I really didn't have the education to do it at the time. I probably would have made a lot of mistakes if I did it without getting some education. So we went to some real estate meetings, started hanging out with some real estate investors, and really learning the business. And I had a couple deals that I thought were deals, and somebody said, "That's not a deal. You're buying the house at retail." And I didn't consider that you could buy it at a wholesale price. I figured, what do you mean retail? That's how you do it. So learn some of the wholesale buying strategies that we share with people now. And I bought my first house. I was my early 20s, I think. Quit my job and bought a house that was a condemned home, and got it under contract. This is kind of what we teach people to get into the business. One of the first things you could do is wholesale. And by wholesaling, you're finding bargains, and then you're selling them to bargain hunters. So that's how I got started. I found a condemned house. I got an agreement for $50,000 to buy the thing. I found somebody else that would like to fix it up to resell it, and they paid me $65,000. And we literally closed that transaction. I owned the property for all of 15 minutes and resold it. And these guys were thrilled. They got a great deal. They ended up fixing that house and selling it for $180,000. And I got a quick $15,000. That was my very first deal to get started. And that was just by getting it under contract, and then I sold the contract. So I sold the contract and made a spread there, and that was 15 days after I quit my job. So I made about 15 grand in 15 days. I wish every 15 days was like that.
But a key there was you did educate yourself a little bit before you did that, so that you knew how to do that and not hurt yourself.
Yeah, I think there's always risks involved, but I guess the more education you have, the more calculated those risks can be. You can overdo it. There are a lot of people that get into it and they just have the analysis paralysis, where they just keep going to taking educational courses and buying books and tapes, and a lot of times you see people that still have them in the cellophane on their shelves, and they feel that just buying courses is a step in the right direction. Now, at some point you have to draw a line in the sand and say take action. So you can read up, and I took about 6 months. I decided that my line in the sand was going to be 6 months. I'm going to learn all I can in 6 months, and then I'm going to go do it. And that's what I did, and it worked out really well. I never looked back. So I've been self-unemployed now since 2001. So
10 years. 10 years. Phil, how about you? How'd you get started?
I kind of fell in love with the idea of real estate being real. You could see it, you could touch it, you could go to it. When times were tough, you could go over there and do the landscaping. You could paint the place. You could clean the windows. You could stand out front in a chicken suit and make people come in to rent it. I want to.
Have you done that?
Not exactly. But the main thing that appealed to me about real estate is that I could personally get up in the morning and I could control the success or failure of that property by my energy, by my thoughts, by my desire to succeed. And I just hate the concept of sending a check for whatever, tens of thousands of dollars to your stockbroker and letting them invest it wisely. I want to be in control of my investments. I want my investments to be real. I want to be able to touch it, see it, smell it, live in it, rent it. I want to be able to know that it's not just a line item on a piece of paper that's getting sent to me. So I just love the idea of real estate investing, and all my money is in bricks.
We talked about this before. Even somebody that is knowledgeable in stocks, for example, who buys some shares of Microsoft, for example, there's not too much they can do to that company to enhance the value of their stock, them personally. But with real estate, there's a lot of things you could do to that property to enhance the return that you're going to get in your investment. And like you said, it's a way to control your investment rather than maybe your investment controlling you. I know when I got started, like a lot of people, get started with their first property that they're going to live in. I still own the very first property I ever bought, which was a duplex, and I was single at the time, and I lived in one unit and rented out the other, and the rent on the other unit didn't completely cover my mortgage payment, but it covered a large portion of it, and it made it cheaper for me to live that way than any other way that I could have been at the time, much, much cheaper than renting an apartment, for example. And now, over the years, the equity builds. I've no longer lived there, so I rent out both units and get more income that way. So I think a lot of people get started by looking at how real estate was in their personal situation and then moving on from there. We had someone that we worked with on the show maybe a month or two ago who they were first-time home buyers that we helped them get into a property. They had credit issues and it was a difficult transaction to help them buy a property, but now that they're in, the wife got so motivated that now she's a realtor. Now she's helping other people kind of do the same thing she's doing. So it can kind of grow from there as well. And I'm sure since you guys started this education, you've probably seen yourselves grow and affect more and more lives and help more and more people as time goes on.
Well, another thing that we're working on today is what we call the buyer's briefcase. We want to share with people the ideas that we have. We have some incredibly creative and excellent ways to buy houses. And by sharing that idea with you, the buyer's briefcase is going to be a new product that we're launching next year that's going to be developed around the Addicted to Real Estate book. And what it's going to be is it's going to give you all of the techniques that we teach at our meetings, that we teach at the web TV show, and we're also going to give you the contract so you can walk in confidently to a seller's appointment and have your buyer's briefcase with you, your Addicted to Real Estate buyer's briefcase. And inside of there, you're going to have the training before you walk into that meeting of how to put the deal together, and you're going to have the contracts to close those deals.
Well, that would be great. We will certainly be able to talk and relate people to your website. I think it all kind of starts there for you guys. One-stop shop maybe to get people started, the very first place they could go to learn some of these techniques. We are going to take another quick break, but when we come back, you guys are involved in some other things besides the investment end. We want to talk about that and your company, Realty Mark 100, when we come back after our quick break here on 1180 WFYL. Come back for more Real Estate Radio.
You guys like the way it's shaping up?
Yeah, I think it's going really well.
Streaming live at 1180WFYL.com.
I think it'll be good to touch on the Realty Mark too for the people that listen that maybe don't want to be in the investment end, but still want to know about buying a house.
Yeah, let's, we could spend the rest of the show talking about
A little bit about that.
Realty Mark and how the four of us can all help each other.
Right.
Because we're clearly, we're not just investors, we're certainly involved in plenty of
Business.
Yes, plenty of conventional retail acquisitions and selling, so.
How did you guys get together, real estate wise?
Monthly real estate meetings.
Yeah.
We went to monthly real estate meetings.
Met at a meeting?
Met at meetings, and we just been in touch with each other, and then I formed a mastermind group of about five people that we all had a little Knights of the Round Table gig, and out of that meeting came, forged a partnership for us to do the Realty Mark thing and then
Sweet.
buy houses. Yeah.
I like to tell people that I'm going around to real estate meetings my whole life, and usually when I meet people, I can figure them out, real estate investors that is, I can figure them out relatively quickly. I mean like 10 minutes. This guy, 6 months into it, I still couldn't understand half of what he was doing, so I said I better become his partner.
Are you guys DIG members?
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to be on the board for DIG.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, Phil says he doesn't like other people knowing what he doesn't know, so he's still trying to figure that out.
Yep, we're both been main speakers at DIG, and we're both avid DIG members.
Good. I'm a DIG member also. I just joined this year.
Like 15 seconds.
Who's that guy?
I talk during the commercials.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Doug Andreka, and we're here in the studio, packed studio today. We have Carl Scaramuza from Credit Blueprint, and we also have Phil Falcone, author of Addicted to Real Estate, and you can find out more at his website, addicted2realestate.com, and also his partner, Jeremy Ricci. And we want to touch on a little bit more of some of the other things that you guys do, because it's not just investment focused, although that's a big thrust for you guys. You also own a company called Realty Mark 100. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what that is.
Well, Realty Mark 100 is really a groundbreaking business for real estate agents today. And if you're a real estate agent out there, you better listen up, because what I'm about to say could really change your ability to succeed in this market. Here's how it works. You pay $100 a month. That's it, $100 a month, and you get to keep 100% commission. Nobody out there is doing this kind of thing, and most agents are paying approximately 35% of their commissions to their office. The office at Realty Mark has designed going into it that we know that agents can't survive in this economy. There's just not enough retail transactions being done that agents can provide the income for their families that they used to be able to do. So if you're going to do less transactions, what's a way to fix that is to keep all of the money that you earn from those transactions. So at Realty Mark 100, we're located on 309 in Line, Lexington, about 3 miles above the Montgomeryville Mall, just across the street from Zotto's Diner, right where County Line Road meets 309. And our phone number is 215-321-SELL, 215-321-SELL. And if you'd like to learn more about it, give us a call at that phone number, and we'll have a little meeting with you where I'll explain to you how Realty Mark 100's plan works. If you think $100 a month and 100% commission is good, would you believe we even give you free E&O insurance? And you got to come out and check it out, because it's a tremendous way for realtors to take this economy, which is tough, and turn it around.
Well, there's only a couple ways you can make more money. Either do more transactions or make more per transaction. So that's one way they can really maximize their income.
And being addicted to real estate, owning Realty Mark 100 is just a great way to be around people who are involved in the business that I love.
Now, if you have a buyer, buyers that are listening that are more traditional buyers, they're not really interested in the investment end, but they need some help. They're first-time home buyers. They hear the bad news in the economy. They're wondering, can they buy a house today? Should they buy a house today? What's the market like today as a buyer? Should they really be out there looking to purchase? Not on the investment side, but just a regular owner-occupant.
Yeah, I think from a primary owner-occupant perspective, now is a wonderful, wonderful time to buy. They really have pick of the litter now as far as what houses are out there. And don't be afraid in this market to make some lower offers on some houses. Just because they're asking one price doesn't mean you couldn't get it at a lower price. So if one of the problems is you fall in love with the house too much, you're afraid it's going to get away from you, and that's how it used to be. Now the houses are moving, so you can really make some strong offers and make some lower offers that you can afford. And there's a lot of programs out there that I know, Doug, that you're involved in, that you can, as a first-time home buyer, there's plenty of mortgage products that are out there right now. I know if you're more rural, you can even get in these USDA